Let's talk draft on today's show. NFL.com's Chad Reuter, who, I'll be honest, I normally don't like. I think his mock drafts are normally pretty weird and wonky, and this one is weird and wonky, which the draft is too, but it got really good picks for the Cowboys. So for the first time in a long time, I like what Chad did for the Cowboys in this mock draft. Now, if you want weekly or weekly-ish Cowboys mock drafts, spam me in the comments section of today's show. Let's run through the mock draft picks in round one. Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Shadur Sanders, Abdul Carter, Will Johnson, Ashton Genty off the board at number 6. One will hurt some of you. Mason Graham at 7. Walter Nolan at 8. Tyler Warren goes 9. Back-to-back offense linemen. Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks go 10 and 11. And that means T-Mac, Tetairoa McMillan, is on the board at number 12 for the Dallas Cowboys. As a pure receiver, so we're just not counting Travis Hunter basically, I think he is the best receiver in this year's class. He brings a very unique blend of size and athletic traits, which I'll go more in depth on. But there was only the first round write-ups from Chad, so take it away. He wrote Dallas takes the top player still on the board in McMillan, who's 6'5" frame, long strides and strong hands. Make him a threat down the sideline, in the red zone, and over the middle. I do agree. I think in particular, his dig route and production is fantastic, which the Cowboys at times last year got away from, and even the first year under McCarthy they got away from, which is silly because it's a good throw. I get some T. Higgins, Nico Collins vibes of like bigger receivers who move really well at their size, and you don't normally see 6'5", 210 guys that are as athletic and fluid as McMillan. It's not like he's some shifty elite receiver, but relative to his size, he's really good there. He's kind of like Drake London in terms of how he got used, like played on the outside, but also in the slot plenty this past year as well. About almost a quarter of his reps were actually in the slot as well. Offered more yak and force missed tackles than you think for somebody of his size. The drops went up this year. I'm not overly concerned about that. Some whispers he might have been a touch banged up as well. Not an elite burner. Might be like a 4 or 5 guy. But as a compliment to CeeDee Lamb, I'm really intrigued by him. There were other players who were on the board here in round 1 that I want to make note of. Guys that also went in following picks in Chad's mock draft. Jalen Walker, Luther Burden, Jahdae Barron, one of my guys, Armand Membu, who I like a lot, Mike Green. If Tet McMillan is, I think, the closest you get to like the who's the surprise CeeDee Lamb-esque slider. I think McMillan could fill that. I'd be surprised if he fell, but I don't think it's unrealistic. So who is your dream realistic round 1 NFL draft pick for the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know at the pinned comment of today's show, especially if the ad comes here on YouTube. Some recent round 2 picks. Tyreek Williams off the board at Ohio State. Nick Scorton is a trade, by the way, to the Chiefs at 42. Donovan Jackson, Shamar Stewart, and Matthew Golden go off the board at 40 and 37. But it leaves the Cowboys the number 2 back in the class per Chad. Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. Great size, 6', 219. Ran for over 1,000 yards, actually over 1,500 yards each of the past 2 seasons. He has 2 straight seasons, by the way, of at least 1,000 yards after contact. That's really good when you're generating that amount of production. Little bit built like Todd Gurley. I don't think he's a Todd Gurley level athlete. Might test a bit more like Melvin Gordon, who was good early in his career. I think he's got good speed, not elite speed. Very good vision as well. Only had 2 drops this year, but those were the most of his career. I think offers some third down stuff and pass catching. Needs pass blocking work, but if you're retaining a recon, or if Lip can handle that role. So it fits pretty well with Dallas. Sometimes has a lack of a fear of contact, like too much so, where I want him to just not take as many hits. But you don't necessarily want a full-on workhorse in the modern NFL. A guy that can take 250 carries, 300 carries a season. I do think Hampton can do that, though. There's even he's not quite as, from a size perspective, I don't think he's quite as, he's not as tall and stretched out as DeMarco Murray was. I also don't think he's going to run in the sub-4s, but I think there are some similarities in how they play. Now, others on the board in round 2. Elijah Arroyo, who was the next pick, by the way. That's why I mentioned him. James Pierce was there, which I'd be surprised by. I would take him in round 2, and I'd figure out running back later, but I ain't getting mad at an Omarion Hampton pick. Make no mistake about that one either. Alfred Collins, if you want a DT, Siobhan Revell, and then Nikamon Worry. Injured guy in Siobhan Revell could be a classic Cowboys pick. Injured player in round 2. They love those. We call them the old Blue Star Special. Dallas always loves those guys. But to get Tet McMillan in round 1 and then Omarion Hampton in round 2, you're kind of knocking out, I think, 2 of your biggest needs with fantastic value with those particular selections. Now, if you haven't already, I'm not sure what you're waiting for to subscribe. We'll have free Cowboys videos for you each and every single day. Hit that sub button. It's oftentimes multiple times per day, by the way. So don't miss out. Hit that sub button for me right now. Notable third-round picks. Kevin Winston out of Penn State off the board. Jordan Birch out of Oregon. Darius Alexander, I think, is an under-the-radar player. Kind of got on people's radar at the Senior Bowl. Had a very good year for Toledo. He's a good player. Landon Jackson is an edge setter at Arkansas. Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame off the board. And then Dallas guy, which is probably not like as big of a steal as McMillan, but still very, very good value. TJ Sanders. In general, I love this DT class. It's so good. Sanders can help you right away. I don't know if he's going to be a 60 snap getter, 50 snap getter, 40 snap getter in year 1, but I think he's going to contribute as part of a rotation, which is what you want out of a DT in the 3rd round. I would not be shocked if he went in round 2. Now, the TFL numbers went down, but the pressure rate was really good. 12.9% pressure rate is very, very strong. You can look at other players in this draft class. That's higher than Mason Graham's pressure rate. That is significantly higher than Walter Nolan's pressure rate. It's double Tyleik Williams' pressure rate this past year. Now, he's not the best finisher. That's not uncommon for DTs. He had some nose guard reps in 23. I think he's a 3 technique. He's like 6'4", 290. I think he's a 3 technique in the end. Didn't play football till his junior year of high school. So you're getting a guy that has not yet hit his ceiling. I think he plays bigger than his weight. I think he's a good, not great athlete. We'll see how that ends up shaking out. But his disruption ability matters. And then that's a big deal for me. Now, others who are on the board here in the 3rd round, Marcus Bowe out of Purdue, who I like. You know, maybe you could have gone James Pierce, Trevor Henderson, hypothetically. All worked out for you. But I also want to make this point real quick. I don't want to pass on a running back if I love one in early on with the assumption of I can get one later, because we've said that 2 years in a row, and the Cowboys did not get one later. Deion Walker out of Kentucky, I'm very intrigued by. And then Mr. Omar Norman Lott and his insane neck, which is, hey, sometimes Deion, I'm a bit like that, man. So to recap this, I think really, really strong mock draft from NFL.com and what the Cowboys got in the end. Tet McMillan in round 1. Omarion Hampton in round 2. That's the Arizona receiver, UNC back. And then South Carolina defensive tackle TJ Sanders. I got 3 guys that can help me right away in year 1 and be huge parts of my team. And I got great value, too. I would love it if the draft broke down that way, barring some weird injury, stuff that happens later on in April. So I want you to grade that mock draft for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. You can be honest. It's not my mock, so if you don't like it, it's fine. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments of today's show.